Hey guys, Kickassreaction here, and we are back to continue on with some more Frieren Beyond Journey's End. So yeah, I do have sets now, which is pretty nice. I did the first 12 episodes, just kind of, just kind of bowling it no matter what, just kind of making up my own sets as I go along, which I feel like was decent. I feel like I did pretty well with what I had at the time. But now I do have direction, which is pretty cool. So this set we're doing episodes 13 to 14, and next set we'll do 15 to 17, and then so on and so forth. And we'll gradually get through the rest of the 16 episodes we have left of the show. But yeah, pretty good stuff. Like I said, I'm enjoying the series so far. Like I said, last episode was really great because it did show how with the story of Heimel and the sword, the sword and the stone and whatnot. It was a great, representation of how over time stories and, legends and whatnot do evolve, not devolve, but the truth of those meanings do end up being lost to time as, as the people who were there to witness and experience, the actions at, of the modern era, how those people end up, unfortunately passing over time as time goes on. More and more people who hear the stories from those people end up, incorporating their own view of it, their own kind of personal biases, and, just kind of mistranslations happen here and there. So you end up seeing, how the memory of those stories and those moments do end up getting wavered and passed down, in different formats, and Frieren being the only one who's really alive anymore, barring, Eisen, who's also very soon on his way to pass him. How the true memories, and the truth of those stories with Heimel only now kind of exist in her memory, and she's carrying those moments over time, and that is, part of what Frieren wants. For a long time, she's been a hermit, disconnected from the world, and, she is trying to preserve those memories, and that's also another reason why she's after the grimoires, Flammy's grimoires, because those hold the truth of the past that have been long lost to time, to the point to where they're not even really thought of anymore to be real. There's so many forgeries, people start wondering if that shit's even legit anymore, And obviously, because Frieren being the only one that was there to experience it, only she holds those memories anymore. And I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really cool to see. Obviously, Heimel, for what he wanted to be, he wanted to be a legend, a symbol of hope, all that good stuff, People have that view of him as being a legend and a symbol, but the truth events of Heimel as a person, obviously that's something a lot harder to preserve over time, and obviously the story got twisted to where he had the real sword to defeat the Demon King, whereas the reality of it is honestly so much more badass than that, where he actually beat the Demon King with a fucking replica sword on his side, and that honestly, I think that's an even better tale, because that truly sends the message that you don't have to be a special person or a chosen one to make a change in the world. You just have to, have the will, the strength, the fortitude, the teamwork, and the bonds to do it. And obviously, unfortunately, that kind of message is just gone because, tales of a fallen yet loved warrior overtake that, which is a shame. But yeah, like I said, really fun episode. I really did enjoy episode, what's it called? Episode 12, which was nice. But yeah, we do have some stuff going on right now, obviously. Our journey at the moment is to get Frieren her updated, renewed, I think it's mage license, which we go through in the mage examination process. I forgot the specific terminology they used in episode 11 for that. But basically, Frieren's been around for a while. Got her, her official kind of badge 80 years ago, to which that shit is not valid anymore whatsoever. So our current objective is to renew it, to take the exam, get her going, and do that kind of stuff. We know that Fern is a third class mage, so I don't know if it just goes first, second, and third, bronze, silver, and gold in that order. But we know that Fern is a pretty OP caster by herself, so I gotta, based off that, I'd want to assume they go a little further down than that, maybe 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. The bronze, silver, and gold thing is just kind of the most basic assumption I can make of that, so there's points for both. I don't know yet, but I'm probably assuming that, unless there's a written portion of the exam, I'm assuming that Frieren is good enough to get into the, the first classification no matter what, And again, that's another thing of how legends get lost over time, to where, again, the show very much emphasizes that Frieren is someone who has just been lost to, to the story as just an elf that was part of Heimel's group, but because Frieren is, just a hermit, she doesn't brag, she doesn't exaggerate, she doesn't spend any time around people until very recent years. So obviously, half the stuff that's gone on in the series so far would probably have not happened had Frieren just had a bit more of a reputation to her, So much grief and aggro would not have been a problem. So I'm curious how the exam... I keep wanting to say Huntsman exam. I don't know why. I'm watching Attack on Titan, which have hunters, and I have just started playing the game Bloodborne, which also has hunters, so I think I'm just drawn to hunters at the moment. And I want to keep saying the hunter exam, but that's not what it is. I don't know. But yeah. Based on the overall pace of the series, I can see us doing this exam in this set, and then being done with it, and then we move on to whatever it's next. Or we just, keep that in the back burner, do some other stories here, and then in the next set we do that. It has to happen soon, I imagine. I don't imagine we'd spend that long on it, because our objective is obviously, the Demon King's castle, aka heaven. So, we'll see. But yeah. Either way, guys, we're continuing on with Frieren, with episode 13 and 14. I'm excited for it, I am enjoying the show as we go along. And, yeah. Anyway, let's begin with episode 13 in 3, 2, 1, and play. This is a good start. I like seeing Frieren.
俺もずっと昔冒険者に憧れていた。誰にだってある。ガキの頃のくだらない夢だ。
Okay. Very ominous right there. Not quite sure what to make of that, to be honest. Yeah, that just seemed kind of strange. I don't think we've met that person before. It looked a lot like the chief village owner of the previous place from Safe from Demons. And obviously, Fern and Stark weren't there, so maybe that was a flashback? It's nigh impossible to ever tell because, Frieren doesn't age. But yeah. We should be getting pretty close, I assume, to a new OP. Because yeah, this is like the latest, a single core would last now was 13 episodes, so possibly next episode, but if you really want to push it, one more and then we're there. But I absolutely suspect a new one very soon. Oh, that guy, yeah, in the intro, there's the dude with the cigarette. Obviously Flammy. This potato that we have to meet, another elf. Can't tell if they look 5 years younger than Frieren or 5 years older than Frieren, honestly. Aversion to one's own kind. Interesting.
ガキの頃、一緒に小さな冒険をたくさんした親友がいたんだ。無鉄砲な体力バカで、ゴリラみたいなやつだった。とは言っても、友達思いでいいゴリラだったよ。
Okay. Gorilla.
大人になってそんな夢も忘れかけた頃、そいつから一緒に冒険者にならないかと誘われたんだ。
Cool.
あの時あの手を取っていたら何かが変わっていたんだろうな。10年も昔の話だ。今でも後悔しているよ。
Damn. That definitely sucks.
なんで私にそんな話をするの？
俺の村は収穫祭が近くてな、料理に使う野草を森で取ってくるように兄貴に頼まれた。そしたら死ぬ間にハマっちまった。俺はもう
That might not have happened if you took that offer.
お前がこの手を取ったら何かが変
What
わ
a
るかもしれない。
silly head.
ちょっと待ってね。
What a troll. No.
何かある？
手が汚い。
Yeah.
絶対そんなこと気にしてる場合じゃないよ。 それにジョーちゃん、大人ってのは
You know, got a random spell to remove mud and dirt.
物理的に汚いのは初めてかも。
Okay.
もう少し時間いい？底なし沼から
Oh my god!
思い出すから。
Yeah.
なるべく早くね。
Ah, modern day.
フリーレン
Of
様、
course.
薬草集まりましたか？
あ、思い出した。
Literally just... We're done.
俺はここでいいよ。
You have too many spells that you can't even remember half of them anymore, Frieren.
別にい
It
い
might be time to start
助けて
cataloging.
もらったんだから。
いえ、私からきつく言っておきます。
Those are some big ears. Oh.
それより本当に村に寄っていかなくていいのか？収穫祭の準備で忙しいが、礼くらいするぞ。
物資の補充がしたいから、今日中に大きめの町に行きたいんだよね。
そうか。なら気をつけてな。ここら辺は危険な毒性生物が多いから。
Yeah.
わかった。
Well, that was fun. God damn it.
Oh.
Yeah, I just knew it'd be
噛まれ
start.
ちゃった。
噛まれた？
気をつけろって言われたのに何やってるのも
とりあえず止血しましょう。
あれ、なんか鼻血出てきた。
Oh, that's not good.
毒の種類の分析って僧侶の魔法だから得意じゃないんだよね。
Yeah.
知らない反応だし、手持ちの毒消しじゃ無理かも。教会で見てもらった方がいいね。フェルン、飛行魔法、あとど
All
のくらい
that
使え
time
る？
with a priest and you
マル
couldn't
コの
learn his
数字が
arsenal?
大きいので30分が限度ですね。
30
Is this hand getting
分
bigger?
まではいけないね。さっきの村まで戻ろう。シュタルクは私が運ぶね。
大げさだな。
No.
大丈夫だって。毒は気合でなんとかなるって師匠も言っていたぜ。
そういえば、アイゼンって竜を
Well,
混沌させるほどの
he's not the same
力を受けて
species as
ピンピンしていた。
fucking
ファイ
start.
ターがドン引きしていた。
だろ？
いえ、ドン引きしている時点でおかしいのはアイゼン様だと思う。
Yeah.
それにハイター様の話によると冒険者の死因の2割は毒だそう
Not
で
a
す。
large amount, but still
急ぎ
concerning.
ましょう。
Yeah.
本当に大丈夫だって。
How dare you think we would mention this village and not spend an episode at it?
数時間後には脳が溶け始め、鼻から
Jesus.
全部流れ出て死にます。
すごく怖い。
Yeah, that is pretty
どうにか
like
ならないんですか
hardcore.
神父様。
本来なら初期の段階でしか対処できませんが、私の弟ならあるいは
Nice one.
兄貴、
Oh no!
新しい風呂桶小さくない？
Of all the people.
やりすぎじゃない？手のひらサイズまで製品しちゃってんのうちくらいだよ。
それよりもザイン、この方を見てあげなさい。
あれ？兄貴、こいつらだよ。俺のこと助けてくれたのは。なんだ？蛇にでも噛まれたか。
You,
気をつけろ。
you probably shouldn't just let it drip like that. Wow.
じゃ、これでチャラだな。
And just like that.
兄貴、広場の手伝い行ってくれ。
That's an OP spell.
ああ、
鼻血止まった。
毒の反応が消えています。
Yeah.
神父
The
様、
power of holy magic, I guess.
どう思われますか、弟。
その首にかけている聖印、生徒から地方で最も優れている司祭に与えられるものだ。その回復のエキスパートが不治と判断した毒を一瞬で治療した。あれは天性の際だ。
やはりフリーレン様には分かりますか。
私のこと知っているの？
ハイター様から聞かされておりま
Oh,
したので、
cool.
この聖印は生徒から視察に来られたハイター様から授けられたものです。とは言っても、所詮私は田舎の僧侶。誇れるものなんてこれくらいしかありません。ですが、 ザインの際は私の日ではない。私たちの両親は早くに他界しましてね。男で一つで年の離れたザインを育ててきました。あの子は子供の頃、冒険者になりたいとよく言っていた。私のような同じ毎日を繰り返すだけの平凡な村の僧侶にはなりたくないと、夢や希望に満ちた目でそう言ったんです。でも今は私の若い頃にそっくりだ。さぞつまらない人生でしょう。どうかあの子をこの村から連れ出してやってはくれ
Are
ません
we
か。
really getting our priest now?
あの子はずっと
Are we actually getting a
背中を
fourth
押して
member? I
くれ
didn't
る誰
think
か
of
を
that.
探しているんですよ。
Because yeah, we have 2 mages and a warrior, not
俺
a
は
priest
賛成
though.
だぜ、フリーレン。悩むようなことじゃねえだろ。もう脳みそ鼻から出そうになる経験はごめんだぜ。
確かにここから先は僧侶がいた方が安心かもしれませんね。フリーレン様は何が不満なんですか？
I don't like people this much.
かな。
何言ってんだこいつ。とにかく俺一人でも勧誘しに行くぜ。
Well, how about no? That's not a choice you get to make on your
ど
own,
こに？
you little bastard.
ザイン様はいつもこの下の
Are
酒
you
場に
forgetting
入り
you're
立っ
the
ているそう
third
です。
member of the group?
酒、
A corrupt priest.
タバコ。
Literally the most
Yum.
corrupt priest. Oh my god, even Hitter didn't
さ
fucking
すがに長
smoke.
臭すぎないかな。
親睦を深めてるんだ。小僧もやるか？
Oh my good
シュ
lord.
タルクだ。
But the most corrupt
俺
ones
た
are...
ち僧侶を探しているん
It
だ。
seems to be the best, so, you
仲間
know.
にならないか？
冗談だろう。俺はこの村の僧侶だ。冒険になんか。いや、それも一興か。それしたらか。俺に勝てたら仲間になってやるよ。
Oh,
本
great.
当か？
ええ、本当だ。
But if you lose...
フリーレン様、今下からシュタルク様の悲鳴のような声が。
Oh, that's bad.
脅されてる。
He really is a corrupt priest.
ひどい。誰がこんな
Your gear and even your clothes.
大人ってのは汚いもんなんだぜ。
Oh, you
剥
got
がされてる。
fucked too.
村長の一人勝ちさ。鬼人のごとき強さだぜ。
ザイン、
仲間探してんだった
I
ら
believe that's called cheating.
他を当たれ。
冒険者になりたいんでしょ。
昔の話だって言ってんだろう。今更だよ。俺はもっと早くあいつを追いかけるべきだったんだ。ここにいるのは落ちぶれたパンツ一丁のおっさんだ。
フリーレン、僕たちと一緒に
Of
魔王を
course.
倒そう。
今更だよ。もう500年以上魔族との実戦はやってない。もう戦い方も忘れてしまった。私は決断を先送りしすぎた。きっと魔王と戦うのが怖かったんだろうね。もう取り返しのつかないほどの年月が経った。
And look how far you went in just 10 years from that.
私は今の話をしている。
Hey. It's never too late to make a change in some areas of life.
他を当たれ。お前には俺の気持ちは分かんねえよ。
そう。今のでよくわかった。やっぱり私ザインのこと嫌いだ。
Damn.
そうかい。だったら。
だから意地でも仲間に誘うことにした。
え、なんで？
I'm a silly head.
わけわかんなすぎて怖い。
Nah.
ありがとう。あったかい。
本当にお騒がせして申し訳ありませんでした。失礼します。
いくらで買い戻せたの？
収穫祭も近いしゆっくりしていけってただで返してくださりました。
よ
Oh,
かったね。いい人たちで。
interesting.
斧は処分に困ってました。
悲しい。
Yeah.
シュタルク様、来てください。
なにその汚いものつまむような持ち方。
こちらはザイン様の分です。
And now you're in debt again.
俺が一体何をしたって言うんだ。
シュタルクの身ぐるみを剥がしたこと怒っているんだよ。
やったのは俺じゃなくて村長だって。
ギャンブルする人は最低です。
Damn.
ごめんよ。
ましてやザイン様は僧侶なのに。
酒を飲む僧侶はどうなのさ。
知らないんですか、フリーレン様。酒は百薬の長なんですよ。
Oh my god, of course she learned that, yeah, from Hetia.
まあ仲間にするかどうかは別として、ザインは冒険者になるべきだと思うよ。
打って変わって随分協力的じゃねえか。
たまには背中を押してみるのもいいと思ったんだよ。勇者ヒンメルがそうしたように。
Really living by his example now.
どうやらこの冒険者たちは村に滞在することにしたらしい。
Well, I guess I didn't think we'd actually do it after a while, to be honest, but I guess we are getting our fourth
毎
party
日のように
member.
俺を勧誘してくる。
What a corrupt...
諦めさせようと努力して。
Why did you do it again?
夢や希望に満ちたあの時のあいつみたいな目で俺を冒険に誘いやがる。
ちょっくら北側諸国を巡ってくるだけだ。3年後の収穫祭までには戻る。覚悟が決まんねえならそん時でいい。次の冒険は一緒に行こうぜ。
How that hasn't happened,
こいつらに誘われるたびに思う。なんで今さら。今ではもう俺には眩しすぎるな。
ザインの好きなものですか。
苦戦しているからね。参考にしたくて。
そうですね。酒にタバコにギャンブルに。
Yep, he's a very corrupt priest.
あいつ本当に僧侶なの？
Very much
や
so.
はりハイター様は真面目な僧侶だったのですね。
Don't thinking that's the norm. I know you've only met 3 priests in life, but that's not the
年上のお姉さ
norm.
んが好きですね。
もはや破壊層じゃねえか。
Oh yeah.
年上のお姉さんか。正直そんな情報あってもな。
You're 1,000 years old, girl.
何？
You are 1,000 years old.
そっか。
兄貴、新しい鎌だけど小さくない？これじゃ草刈りもってまたお前らか。
おちょっといいかザイン。
まだいたのか。
なあ
何度も言わせんな。他を当たれって。
ザイン、年上のお姉さんと旅がしたくないか？
バカかお前。そのためにガキの頃の俺は冒険者を目指したんだ。
What?
すっげえ不純。
で、どこ？そのお姉さんは
Dude, she's
どこだ？
literally an elf.
ここだよザイン。
Oh my god.
私はエルフだ。お前よりもずっと年上のお姉さんだよ。
そういえば兄貴もそんなこと言ってたっけ？
My age is in the 4 digits. Is that hot enough for you?
こんなのお姉さんじゃない。
すごく辛そう。
Yeah.
仕方がない。
You look so much younger than me.
あまりこういうことはしたくなかったけれども。
Are you gonna seduce him?
先生から教わった命仕掛けを使うときに。
Oh no! What did Flabby teach you?
ちゅ
Smooch. That might work
何それ？
better with, like, you know, someone a little
投げキ
younger.
ッスだよ。坊やには
Actually,
まだ
both of the
早
older
かっ
ones
たか
too,
な
to be fair.
誰か
You look about
このお子
20.
様を連れて帰ってくれ。
エッチすぎる。
なんなのお前ら。
What the
お
hell?
かしいな。ヒンメルに試したとき失神するほどのエルフだったのに。
I like how even third was like, fuck. That is sexy.
罪な女だ。
変だな。
わかります。私も直撃を食らっていたら危ないところでした。
腐っても聖職者ってわけか。強敵だぜ。
もういい加減にしろ。
Crap.
俺は冒険者になるつもりはない。
A priest who loves older girls, but seduction doesn't work. What a
兄貴
contradiction.
ならわかるだろ
ザイン、
あいつは3年後には帰ってくると言ったんだ。あれから10年も経った。もう死んでいるに決まってんだろうが。
Maybe.
会いに行ってもいないのに諦めるんだ。まだたったの10年だよ。
Only.
今会いに行かないと近い未来に後悔するよ。あの時ならまだ間に合ったのかもしれないって。
なんで。
なんで今更って思っているでしょ。私は今の話をしているんだよ、ザイン。
いけない。理由は10年前にあいつについていかなかったのと同じだ。兄貴を置いて村を出るだなんて、そんなことできるわけねえだろ。
Damn.
何を言っているんだ。
That's why.
ハイター様が生徒から視察に来た時聞いちまったんだ。
あなたほどの才があれば生徒の司祭としてもやっていけるでしょう。
私が生徒で。
はい、間違いなく。
ハイター様、その場合弟はどうなりますか。
もちろん生徒へ。
そうですか。ハイター様、せっかくのお話ですが、私はこの村でも生活には困っておりません。弟は幼くして両親を失っています。私はあの子の兄です。あの子から故郷まで奪うことはできません。
Damn.
そうですか。お気持ちは分かりました。
That's
とん
unfortunate.
だ無駄足でしたね。では無駄足ついでに君の弟さんにたっぷりと冒険談でも話していくとしましょう。
Nice.
兄貴は俺のためにこの村に残ったんだぞ。
ザイン、そんなことを考えていたのか。
Damn.
お前と私を一緒にするな。私はあの時の選択を一度だって後悔したことはない。
But you have since
それ
day
に比べ
one.
お前は何だ。いつまで後悔し続けるつもりだ。もういい。
Yeah. Live your life, man. Be happy. You can't live it for someone else. Only for you.
兄貴に謝ってきた。
Alright.
勘違いしないでほしいんだけどな。優しい兄貴なんだ。手を挙げられたことなんかなかった。そんな兄貴に殴らせちまった。あんな表情は初めて見たな。フリーレン、俺冒険者になることにしたよ。
Nice.
あいつを追いかける。まだ10年しか経ってねえしな。
Yep. Ah. She's proud. Very proud of you.
俺の旅の目的はあいつを探すことだ。あいつを見つけて俺はガキの頃のくだらない夢を叶える。だから途中までだ。途中まで一緒に行ってやる。
Fair enough.
やった。
やりましたね。
Maybe we'll meet again after that parting, but we'll see.
ところでお前たちの旅の目的は何なんだ。
Yeah, I guess we never
天国。
said that.
わざわざ目指すような場所か。死ねばみんな行けんだろう。
ザイン様も行けるんですか。
You are the most corrupt priest I've ever seen in my life. Are you sure about that?
一緒に頑張ろう。
マジで何なの。
She's just a silly head. Like, don't take it personally. She's just a silly head. That is Frieren's entire character. Well, personality-wise at least. And it is what she will continue to be for the next 10,000 or however fucking long this race has in its lifespan. But yeah, that was fun. So, we have our priest now on a temporary basis only, but still for a little while we will have him. sign. I'm curious just how long this goes. If we, you know, this is a 2-episode set, so if we lose him at the end of next episode, I guess that would be acceptable, but it'd probably be nice to have a little more of him, you know, because he is an interesting character. I am liking him at the moment. Woo! And like I said, this very well may be the last time we actually see this in this ED. If we were to meet again. Like I said, I love the art style and I love the songs in this show. They're all really good, and yep. Just one little moment in life from a certain perspective is enough to change it forever. And that is the case with Frieren, and that is also becoming the case for a sign, you know? So like I said, temporary basis, we have our priest and we have our party of 4, which is the, you know, the typical group of party and adventurer amount, which is nice to see. So yeah, this is pretty fun. Like I said, based on the length of this set, I'm going to assume we will lose him after this episode. It's possible we don't. It's possible we have, you know, sign around for a little longer than that. But this was still cool, you know, and obviously it had the message of don't, you know, for one, don't waste your life away. Don't live your life for someone else, you know. That might be the case for a lot of people, I feel like, you know. Due to pressures of, you know, possibly family members or friends, I'm sure a lot of people do live their life in a way that they think will make others proud of them, but it's not a case of what they genuinely want for themselves, you know. And then, for a lot of people, it becomes a point to where you end up doing one thing for so long, it's like, is there a point to starting over? You know, can you put in that effort to start something brand new again, even if it's something you genuinely want to do? And this kind of had that message, you know, that Heimel taught to Frieren. You know, for 500 years she hadn't fought demons and thought it was impossible for her at that point, and then in just a 10-year span, they killed the Demon King, which was seen as nigh impossible before that. And here you have the same thing with, you know, with Sign, with Frieren telling him about that lesson again with Heimel, living, you know, having Heimel's, you know, memories and, you know, messages and whatnot present through her at this point, you know. Where the dude, you know, for a long time, he had regrets in life. He had many regrets in life. For 10 years, he regretted this decision and lived as happy as he could. But deep down, he wasn't happy. He had noble causes and he did a lot of noble things and good deeds. But it just wasn't his dream in life, and he lived it for someone else. And that, honestly, you know, made his brother furious with him, you know. He made his choice for his brother, and his brother was never even happy with the choice to begin with, you know, so miscommunication right there led to, you know, a lot of years being honestly lost, which is unfortunate, and like I said, that probably does hit hard for a lot of people in life, as I think one of the worst things that can happen in life that does happen for a lot of people is, you know, pursuing a certain career path and then finding out later on in life it's not the career path for you, you know, the thing you might have dedicated yourself to, be it because you genuinely thought it'd be for you, or because you did it because others wanted you to do it, and then realizing, you know, 10 years down the line, it's not for me, and then having to start over. It can be depressing, it can be hard, it can be very, very, you know, hard to go through. But, you know, at the end of the day, what do? You have to make that path, you know, whatever makes you happy, you have to, you know, you should have to pursue it. You know, and it's hard in life. It's pretty hard, and I think this episode really well conveyed that. You know, it was really nice to see, and of course, obviously, they did their sus not only because obviously they wanted a priest in their party, but because Frieren saw that, you know, she was in the same spot. She was in the same spot. You know, don't worry about what you did in the past, and if the past really does haunt you even now, try and change it. You know, you can't change everything, but there are some things you can physically do, and hey. Frieren just wanted Sign to take that extra step, and here we are. We got a party. We got a complete party for the time being. We got a complete party of the, you know, the most corrupt priest probably in this world's history. Like, you know, Hida, or however you say the corrupt priest's name, he drank, which was one thing, But he didn't smoke, he didn't gamble, to our own knowledge, you know, to my knowledge. And so, even he wasn't as corrupt as this motherfucker, which is honestly hilarious. And it is very funny to see. So yeah, we're probably not doing that mage examination thing just yet, but we still have one more episode to go in this set. And like I said, we probably get our full episode of, you know, our sign boy, and then maybe we say goodbye in the next episode. And then we move on to the exam, because that's got to be coming soon. I really do imagine it is coming very, very soon, but we'll see. So guys, I'm going to do my cut, and when I do come back, we will of course do episode 14, so I'll see you in a moment. Alright guys, and we are back. So let's finish off this set of Frieren. Feels weird saying that we're only 2. With episode 14.
買い出しのしがいがあるな。
ここは賑やかな街ですね。魚も多いし。
そうだフリーレン。後で一緒に買い物に行こう。
That took a second
こ
you can
こはいい
process
店も
that.
たくさんありそうだ。
別にいいけど。
何してんだフリーレン。行こうぜ。
Reliving the same stuff. Yep. The nostalgia is seeping with this one. I feel bad skipping it because this might be the last time we ever see this opening, but yeah. Privilege of the young.
そこまで言わなくたっていいだろう。いつも気使うたりやがって。そんなに俺のことが嫌いかよ。
What did you do?
もういい。師匠のところに帰る。
What did you do?
なんだよいつもちょっとぐらい聞いてくれてもいいだろう。
What did you do?
なんだうるせえな。血は喧嘩か？
Wow.
今日フェルンの誕生日なんだけど。
Oh.
シュタルクのプレゼ
Oh!
ント用意
Oof!
してなくて
Oof!
ね
Oof! Yeah, we just had his
それで
birthday as well.
フェルンが切れちゃったの。
We just had his birthday, which is even funnier about that.
シュタルクの話全然聞いてあげないしさ。
そんなもん俺だって用意してねえよ。
You didn't know.
男っていうのは誕生日とか記念日とかそういう細かいことは気にしない生き物なんだ。
Damn. Damn.
わかった。買ってくるからローキックやめて。こういうのは後で膝に来るから。
Good. Yeah. Oh no.
まったく。シュタルクがかわいそうだぜ。俺ぐらいの年になると冷たくされてもある程度流せるが、あの年の男子は女の子の言動に気中するからな。追いかけた方がいいと思うぜ。
行った方がいいんじゃない？
He really meant that much to you, huh? Despite how much you love to be tsundere to him. Yeah. What would she even like, though? I'm like blanking on what she'd even want as a present. Nice.
そういえば髪飾りも蝶だったな。
Hello.
可愛いポーチですね。
嫌いか？
いいえ、ただ女慣れしていそうで不快です。
そうか。シュタルクは見つかったのか？
広場にいたのですが。
話しかけられなかったか。分かってるよ。嫌いなわけじゃないんだろ。同年代の男子との接し方がわからないだけだ。
Wow.
青春だね。
More like just males in general.
好きなの選んでいいぞ。
She was brought up by a very corrupt priest.
いいえ、結構です。
じゃあ勝手に選ぶな。しかしプレゼントを忘れたとしても怒りすぎだと思うぞ。あいつ絶対そんなマメなタイプじゃないだろう。多分自分の誕生日も覚えていないぜ。責めるのはかわいそうだ。
私はシュタルク様の誕生日にプレゼントをあげました。
Yeah.
その時は一緒に選んだのか。
なんでそれを？
好きなの選んでいいって言われて断るやつなんか普通いないぜ。きっとそれが大切な思い出だと思っているからだ。だから断った。
わかりません。ただなんとなくそうしたくなったんです。
そうか。ならさっさとシュタルクに謝って一緒にプレゼント選んでこい。
Sure, why not? I like how he even got the
あいつは
thing
ガキなん
wrapped.
だ。察しは良くないぞ。
Sure.
仲直りしたいんだろ。思いってのは言葉にしないと伝わらないんだぜ。
Yeah, especially the men. Like, honestly.
そうですね。
Enough with the games.
ほら、宿に
Just be
戻るわ。
blunt about shit.
蹴ってすみませんでした。
Now you've offered a peace offering. I'm sorry. Of course.
シュタルク様。
ヘレン。ごめん。本当は一緒に選びに行きたかったんだ。俺、ヘ
Aww.
レンが好きなものが分からなかったから。でもこんなこと言ったらまた嫌がられるかもと思って言い出さなかったんだ。
What a silly head.
嫌がったりなんかしませんよ。シュタルク様。
Oh, she still goes with Mr.
言い
Stark.
過ぎました。
I swear he told her to stop doing that at some point as well.
慣れてるから。
本当にす
That's
みま
not
せんで
good.
した。
行こうぜ。
はい。
It is a cute little ship. Like, I haven't seen too much that would indicate Fern and Stark together, but there is a little... What the fuck, Frieren?
盗み見かよ。いい趣味だな、フリーレン。
What the hell?
こそ
無事に仲直りできたみたいだな。
But yeah, they are building little things here and there with
人との距離感が分かるようになると衝突することすら避けるようになる。
She's 1,000 and still doesn't get
ああい
them.
うのは若者の特権だな。今まで苦労しただろう、フリーレン。ガキの世話は大変そうだ。
人との距離感って何？
ガキ3人だったか。
Wow.
フェルン、俺に相談しに来たぞ。あんたにじゃなくて。一体俺を誰と比べて誰と重ねているんだろうな。
フェルンはハイターに育てられたからね。
Yeah.
そんな偉大な僧侶と比べられちゃたまったもんじゃないぜ。
Oh, he was corrupt, much like you.
酒飲みでよく二日酔いになっていたし。
Oh, yeah.
好き嫌い多いし。やめろ。
Wow.
よく嘘もついた。
お酒飲んでないよ。
Oh.
ただの生臭坊主だったよ。ザインはそれを上回る破壊層。
I know. So much time speaking about his corruption, then this guy comes
意
along.
外だったな。俺の記憶にある
Small
ハイター
potatoes,
さんは
honestly.
優しくて頼りがいのあるじいさんだった。俺とは違って理想的な大人だったよ。
I mean, it was also fucking old as hell by that point.
ハイターって変わったよね。大人っぽくなった。
老人相手に何を言っているんですか。年を取ると自然とこうなるんですよ。と言いたいところですが、本当は私の心は子供の頃からほとんど変わっていません。理想の大人を目指して大人のふりをしてそれを積み重ねてきただけです。
Wow.
きっと私は死ぬまで大人のふりを続けるでしょう。子供には心の支えになる大人の存在が必要ですから。特にフェルンは努力家です。たくさん褒めて導いてあげないと。
So you pretended to
そ
be
れじゃ
grown
あ
up
死
for
ぬまで大
her.
人のふりを続けたハイターは誰が褒めてくれるの？
そのために女神様がいるんですよ。天国に行くまではお預けですが。
じゃあこっちでは私が褒めるよ。
Nah.
そうですか。でもあなたに人間である私の気持ちはわからないでしょう。どう褒めるつもりですか？
Head pats. Or head rubs even. That is so cute. Frieren is honestly too cute.
思いのほか
She
悪
is...
くはないです。
I know that's like the point, but she is too adorable.
私が天国に行ったら女神様に話を通しておきます。あなたはやはり女神様に褒めてもらうべきです。
Yep.
そう。楽しみにしておくよ。
Yeah. Very long time from now, but you'll meet them one day.
何の真似だ、フリ
It's
ー
so
レン。
ironic how she doesn't
ジ
even
ャイ
like
ンは
head
ちゃん
pats
と大
herself.
人やれていると思うよ。
And again, the music
これがお姉さんからだっ
in
た
this
ら最高
series
だっ
is
たんだけどな。
perfection.
ならよかった。
Perfect. Oh my god, it even
お
matches.
姉さんはなかなかいない
Well, it
よ。
doesn't match, but it's another bracelet. So that's pretty much the. You know what? I might even just start like doing this. I do it for Spy Family. I think I did this near the end, but because you know, Frieren every now and then has the structure of an A and a B type storyline in it. I might just start doing the pauses in the middle and then, you know, speak about what I like about one part and then the end and I'll do the other. But that was really cute. You know, it was really fun to see. Obviously, we get little pieces here and there about the stuff that Frieren did in contrast to what happened, you know, with the old group and how some scenarios, you know, just play out very similarly, but also just how much it means to Frieren and other people, the bonds that they have, right? Like, we had right here, you know, Frieren said she would praise Itia for what he did, and before someone was worshipping, I think it was Heimel that conversation happened, you know, where he was worshipping, oh no, it might have been Hetia too, where he was worshipping Frieren, right, and then she was praising him, and then that contrast to here in the modern day, which I think is really cool. You know, like I said, I do like how we are comparing the thens to the nows in terms of these relationships, and now that, you know, Frieren is a lot more open-minded, she is understanding these relationships a lot better, and it is really cool. And obviously, you know, the Stark and the Fern thing is really fun as well. We saw Stark's birthday, we saw the importance that birthdays have on Fern right here, or back then, and now we're getting the same kind of thing here, which is really nice. And I do like their relationship, you know, like I said, people probably ship them a lot more than I do. At least before this point, I imagine they were probably a decent ship, not only because, you know, they're the two travel companions, but they're around similar age, so obviously two different genders, same age, same party, that's just a ship in the making, right? But this was like the first real kind of... And I guess the birthday episode for Stark would have counted as that as well. But this was one of the first genuine signs of, like... It seems like, you know, the genuine build-up is starting to spark there, and I am really curious if, by the end of the show, again, if this show goes beyond 28 episodes into another season or something, if we do get, like, the Fern Stark ship, right? Because they are cute. You know, I like them. Obviously, Thurn is a bit of a tsundere in terms to Stark, but also that stems from the fact that she just doesn't know how to react to, or how to interact with, you know, guys in general, right? She was born and raised by a corrupt priest, and then tutored for the next 9 years by, you know, Frieren, who is also a hermit and a female. She's had little to no interaction with guys before, and because of that, she comes off as very, very tsundere to, you know, to a Stark, and treats him like shit most of the time, but in a cute way. In a cute way. That's the big thing there, you know. But yeah, that was really cute. I like how we saw that, as well as more on Hita, and I can't say the corrupt priest's name. I just don't know how to say it. You know, the corrupt priest and what he meant to sign as well. And we're seeing how those two contrast, which is really nice. So yeah, let's go on with this next part.
ありがとう。ここら辺は乗り合い馬車もなかったから助かったよ。
こういうのは助け合いですから。実は私、この先の村の商人でして、代々装飾品店を営んでおります。
Nice.
ご興味ありますか？
商売上手だ。私はあまり興味はないけど、 フェルンはそういうの好きだったよね。あれ、ブレスレット新しく買ったの？
No, you idiot.
これは
可愛い衣装だね。
It is.
私同じデザインの指輪持ってるよ。
Really?
前にヒンメルにもらった
Oh my god, that's even
多分フェルン
funnier.
と揃いだよ。
そうなんですか？
どこにあったかな。あれ？
How long has it been?
もう
That's a lot of
整理
booze.
整頓しないから。
Yeah.
あった。
Wow. Right as you pulled all your shit out. That is insane.
ごめん、油断してた。鳥型の魔物って狡猾で
That is so random.
うまいんだよね。
Even for this show, we ain't seen like monsters like this show up.
とりあえず魔物は通すとして
Demons are one thing, but this
あとは飛行魔
thing?
法でなんとかならないのか？馬車くらいなら浮かしたりできんだろ？
シュタルク、空飛ぶ馬車って見たことある？
今乗ってるよ。
意外かもしれないけど、私たち人類が空を飛べるようになってからまだ40年も経っていない。
Seriously?
それまで空は魔族と魔物の独壇場だったんだ。
Wow.
人類が使っている飛行魔法は魔族の魔法術式をそのまま
Yeah.
転用したもので、
小難しいことはいいから俺にもわ
That
かる
was
よ。
nice. We got a little more lore on the magic in this world.
原理がわからないまま使っているから応用ができないってこと。人より大きなものはわずかな時間しか飛ばせない。
なるほど。
脱出するしかないね。私は商人を連れて飛ぶから、フェルンはザインをお願い。
わかりました。
And you are
荷物をまとめ
jumping.
ます。
なあ、俺は？
シュタルクは飛び降りた。
何言ってんのこの人。死んじゃうと思うんだけど。
戦士ならこのくらいの高さで死なないでしょ。
死ぬに決まってんだろ。何わけわかんないみたいな顔してんだよ。
おかしいな。アイゼンは自由落下程度ならどんな高さでも無傷だったよ。
Well, he was a fucking beast, okay? Stark is very much not.
なんなのこいつ。
ハイターがドン引きしていた。
ドン引きしている時点でおかしいの
Yeah,
はアイゼン
that
さんだと思い
line
ます
keeps coming up every time.
では地面に衝突する直前に馬車を浮かせるというのはどうですか？
自由落下を相殺できるか計算しないと。威力を殺しきれないと私たちはごちゃ混ぜのミンチになっちゃうから。
なんか怖いこと言ってる？
どちらにせよ早くした方がいいんじゃないか。こいつ獲物を地面に叩きつけて狩りをするタイプの魔物だぜ。
Oh.
そう。
So we'll improvise. Nice. Rather clean and easy, honestly.
まあ何事
But then
も
again,
挑戦か。
Frieren just one-shots most things she fights.
いきなり落とすなよ。
You better hope you land in a river. Nope. Nope. Nothing of any kind. The horse. No. The horse.
生きてる。
どうやらうまくいったみたいだね。
何がだよ。どういう計画？
It worked, didn't it?
馬は軽傷だった。治療も終わったぞ。だが馬車はダメだな。修理が必要だ。
ごめん。
むしろ感謝しています。私一人では死んでいましたから。
しばらくは馬車の修理だな。
So we're gonna learn more about that ring since we saw it fly out. Curious what that ring was for.
おかしい
Or
な。
if it was just a friendly
どこ
gesture.
行っちゃったんだ。
最近暖かくなってきたな。
そろそろ衣替えですかね。
そういやフェロン、そのブレスレットって。
That'd be cool. Get some new designs.
シュタルク様からの誕生日プレゼントです。
選ぶのに3時間もかかったぜ。
Damn.
結局シュタルクが選んだのか。
私が好きに選んでほしいと言ったので。
おう、なるほどな。大変だったなシュタルク。
Come on,
一番
man.
苦労するパターン。
only one they can confide to because they're both men that barely understand women at all. Stark really has needed a sign in his life because he's been stuck with just girls the whole time and has no idea how to react. Yeah.
しかし、やるじゃねえか、シュタルク。お前はもっとヘタレかと思っていたぜ。あの衣装は鏡レンゲ。花言葉はクオンの愛情だ。この地方じゃ、あれは恋人に贈るものだぜ。
Oh no! Oh no!
シュタルク様。
誤解だよ。俺が花言葉なんて知っていると思うか？
そうですよね。バカですもんね。
Yeah. Oh my god! I didn't even process that face of like cute
何
disgust.
か言いましたか？
なんでもないです。買い直しましょうか？
No.
これはシュタルク様が一生懸命選んで私にくれたも
And
ので
maybe
す。
someday it'll have
二
more
度とそん
meaning.
なこと言わないで。
Cool.
ごめんよ。
Maybe someday.
何ですか？
なんでもねえよ。
Yeah. Even he ships you two so hard, and he's been on the road with you for a day. Oh. Ooh, that looks nice. What the f... You know what? I wouldn't complain about that, honestly. But what the fuck, Frieren? Yeah. Still hasn't found the ring. Sadly, it might have just flown out, and then you guys are like miles from it now.
フリーレン様。馬車の修理が終わったので、明日の早朝には出発するそうです。
そう。
毎晩抜け出していますよね。何を探しているんですか？
ヒンメルからもらった指輪。
手伝います。
Nice.
見つかるまで出発を待ってもらいましょう。
いいや。今夜見つからなかったら諦めるよ。
No.
なくし物には慣れている。ヒンメ
Oh.
ルからもらったものはあれだけじゃないしね。
これと同じ鏡レンゲの衣装の指輪だったんですよね。
Yeah, yeah.
花言葉はクオンの愛情だそうです。
そう。知らなかった。
Oh, that's even
どう
sadder.
でもいい。ヒンメルもそんな花言葉知らなかったと
No,
思う
he
よ。
knew damn well what it meant.
それでもきっと大事なものです。
He didn't... I don't think he
みんな
really...
で一緒に探しましょう。
I don't think he really hid his affection for you in that manner. Based on the little we've seen from the backstory with Heimel.
私の村でも昔から装飾品をなくされる方はそれなりにいました。なくした装飾品を探す魔法。
Nice.
今回の報酬として
Oh, that's incredible. That's a great spell. Also, hella convenient.
Frieren, 君は今回の討伐依頼で頑張ってくれたからね。
Alright, this is
好きな
post
ものを選んでくれ。
adventure.
アクセサリーか。魔法店の方が嬉しいんだけど。じゃあこれでいいよ。
早いな。真面目に選びなさい。
どうしたの？
Oh, he did know.
いや。
Sadly, he probably knew she didn't know. Nice.
フリーレン。
ありがとう。
that face on her was just... Aww. Jesus, and again, the music complements it so well. The kind of sad thing there is Frieren probably has no idea what's even going on. Maybe, you cheeky.
ところでなんでフェルンが鏡レンゲのブレスレットしてるの？
シュタレク様がバカだからです。
バカ!
ひどい。
How could she say that? When does she say anything else about you? Like, honestly, when does she ever give you another compliment or anything? It's just literally never. Because you don't deserve it. I'm joking. That was really sweet. You know, again, the shipping thing is kind of, you know, the contrast of, you know, nothing... It seems nothing ever happened between Frieren and Heimel, despite the fact that it doesn't seem like Heimel ever really hid his affection for Frieren, right? We've seen, you know, comedy jokes here and there about the stuff, but it really does seem like Heimel did have a thing for Frieren. And we even saw in episode 1, he didn't seem to have any semblance of a family, so I'm wondering if it's a really upsetting case of he genuinely just never got over his feelings of Frieren, and he never married, he never had kids or anything, because his heart was always for Frieren. And then, you know, but at the same time, he knew that he held on to these feelings, but he also accepted that Frieren, not only did she not feel the same, the species of elves we've learned do not really feel romantic attachments at all. You know, but at the same time, I'm also a little curious if that is just something Frieren's misconstrued, and has, you know, learned that, like, well, maybe that was the case, but if she maybe misunderstood and just didn't do that, because she's never personally felt any romantic connection, maybe she just assumes elves don't. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell how accurately Frieren's own knowledge is, because, you know, she is a silly head. You know, a lot of the time she is taken for jokes and for granted and whatnot, but I'm kind of wondering... I will go off of that idea, though, you know, because not only does that make sense based off her own character, that info probably did help Heimel with his own feelings, right? Not even the fact that Frieren didn't feel the same for him, but if the case of elves in general just do not feel like a romantic affection at all, it's, you know... It makes, it would make that so much better for him personally. And obviously, you know, Fern and Stark are like the modern day, you know, representation of those two, given that, you know, magic caster, warrior. We have some silly romantic sus going on in there, you know. Will that be a thing at some point? Maybe, you know, if we do get a time skip in the show. Or maybe by the end of the journey. You know, we have no idea how long this journey is even going to go on for. You know, 10 years was the journey to defeat Demon King, but most of those, you know, obstacles are already dealt with now, so a lot of those years are probably going to be cut off in general. But, it was really sweet, you know, that one scene of him, you know, mirroring, like, a proposal with the, you know, with the mirrored lotus on Frieren. Obviously, that meant something to her. Now, whether or not that was romantic or not, whether or not she even realized what she was feeling, it could not have been romantic, but she just didn't realize how meaningful and how much she appreciated the gesture at all back then anyway, because she was obviously very apathetic and emotionally distraught. Now she's starting to realize those memories and realize, you know, comes to realizations how much those meanings, those feelings meant to her at the time, given how much she's learned already of, you know, of bonds, of friendship and relationships. And, you know, it is another, like, tragic case. The tale is almost tragic in a way, how much we learn about the, you know, the fun memories and whatnot of the original team. It is tragic in a sense of just how much Frieren regrets now that she didn't take those moments, you know. She didn't embrace those moments fully, and probably just didn't genuinely understand those feelings she had in the first place, you know. She'd been alone for, what, 500 years, she said, before she'd even met the group, so, you know, she didn't really have any personal references for bonds or anything, especially with the opposite gender, by that point, but now she's come to now she's reached the point where she's like, damn, those memories really meant a lot to me, and I just didn't know how much they meant to me until, you know, until many, many years down the line. As I think was the first time ever, in the flashbacks at least, and probably even to the modern day, we've just seen genuine shock of, like, surprise, but also, you know, that face almost, like, it conversed genuine shock, confusion, I think, you know, like, happiness as well in it. There was just so much there to go through on that one face of Frieren, which I think was probably her best, might have been her best emotional face in the series so far. You know, it was great, and it was nice to see, and of course, you know, that ring is also just, it just represents a beautiful memory of the past for her, you know? Which is why that is so important, because again, Heimel was the person that affected Frieren's life the most. We don't have the whole story, you know, but throughout the series now, we're still getting the, you know, we're still getting the references to the modern day and how, you know, how the past was similar. So we're still kind of building the relationship between Heimel and Frieren, which is a really funny, you know, way the show is structured, which I do honestly really, really do like. And how, again, she's comparing her moments with Heimel to the somewhat similar ones of, you know, Stark and Fern, which is really cool and really beautiful to see. That, albeit short, I think that scene of, you know, him giving the ring formally to Frieren was one of the most beautiful scenes in the show, and one, I think, of the best scenes of the show. You know, by that point I do assume, because the Demon King was gone by that point, I do assume that Heimel knew, you know, that Frieren and him just were never going to be an item. But he still made those gestures, you know, probably because, for one, he wanted to do them anyway, and two, because they have meaning beyond just romantic, right? They still have emotional connection and emotional meaning, which is, you know, maybe by that point was even more important to him, right? And also because he probably knew by that point that his time with Frieren was, you know, about to expire anyway, because she, as we know, went on another journey for 100 years and only came back to, you know, pause that just for one meteor shower night, you know? So yeah, it is tragic, but it is what it is in the show. That's kind of the point. It's not taking the things in life for granted and all that good stuff, and that's one of the show's most important messages. But yeah, guys, that does it for this set of Frieren. I had a really fun time. And next time we'll do episodes 15 to 17. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.